We're so pleased to have you guys for the next 30 minutes as we discuss everything you could ever want to know about our 7 favorite zones, right? With that said, we have one of our newest Power Zone instructors, Ben Alldis here, everybody.
Hey, guys.
And Ben just debuted his first live Power Zone ride at Homecoming, so we're super stoked about that. And we also have with us 3 active members in the Power Zone community. Of course, let them introduce themselves, but their names are Anna Caldera, Pauline Pham, and Fawn Coward. How about we start with Anna Caldera?
Thank you, Matt. Hi, everybody. I'm Anna Caldera, Anita Bonita on the leaderboard, and I'm just thrilled to be with you all today. This is definitely one of my favorite Peloton moments happening right here, right now, so it's a pleasure to be here.
Let's go to Pauline.
Oh yeah, hi. So my name is Pauline Pham, and my Peloton name is Pauline Pham. Easy to remember. So yeah, I love Power Zone training. It's life changing. So the best moment, other than here today, is getting a high five from Matt when I was struggling doing a Power Zone ride. Just when I was gonna give up.
Cool. And then Fawn.
Hi, and my name is Fawn. My leaderboard name is Bambi77. It's my childhood nickname. And my favorite moment is, of course, when I received my bike, and also finding out that Jessica King and Kendall Toole are house heads, and so am I.
Love that. Thank you, Anna, Pauline, and Fawn, for joining us today. I want to just take this moment to say a massive thank you to the Power Zone community for welcoming me into this community. It's been a long time coming. Me and Matt have been working on it for a little while, and I am so excited to be part of the team. You had a chance to take my first live ride this Friday, which was done with Power Zone. I'm going to be dropping many more rides to come. I'm also part of the latest program which is this weekend. So big thank you. I suppose we'll crack on with the questions. We received a number of questions, I think over hundreds of questions. So thanks for submitting all the questions. But the first question I'm going to ask the group, what do you love most about Power Zone training? And what makes you gravitate towards joining the Power Zone pack?
Okay, for me, I've done a few marathons, and every time I train for a marathon, which is usually 3 or 4 months, I'm always either injured, I'm tired all the time. And if you're injured, then that's say you can't race, can you? But with Power Zone training, I find that week in, week out, I'm not tired because you don't have to go all out because it's training smart. So basically, I'm just running faster, stronger, and all I had to do was just to turn up and do this. And none of it been, too hard, or you just think, oh my God, I can't do this. It's just the fact that it's just pitched level for me. So for me, it's because I'm a better runner than I've ever been because of Power Zone training. I use it as cross training.
Nice.
Love that.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
How about you?
What I love about Power Zone training is that it's customized to your level of fitness. So you really get a chance to embrace your inner athlete. And when I think back to when I started this journey, I had never taken a 75-minute, 90-minute ride before. And you start believing in yourself. You see that you are more capable than you know. And I also love to see that measurable progress. So you can go back and take a class and really see the visual representation of your growth reflected on the Power Zone graphs. So for me, that is definitely one of the most satisfying, rewarding experiences to see that your hard work and training has paid off. And it's just awesome to be part of the Power Zone pack. I joined to sign up for these challenges, to stay committed to my training, and it's such a fun, diverse group. I really love how the people in the group are so creative in coming up with the team names, the memes with Matt and Ben and all of the instructors. And we really know how to have a good time. We really embody Matt's philosophy of training hard, having a good time. So it's a pleasure to be part of that group.
Awesome.
I love that.
And So it's my turn. So the thing that I love most about the Power Zone is it pushes you. I'm a retired pro bodybuilder, and it was just about lifting weights. You know, I really hated cardio. So getting my bike and doing cardio now, it's fun for me. But the Power Zone is just a whole different level. You know, staying in those high zones, you know, zone 6 and 7, and hearing Matt's voice in my head, stay in your zone, don't go over, don't go under. You know, it just keeps me focused and grounded. And at the end of that ride, I just feel so just amazing that I did it, you know. And the Power Zone pack, just training with this group of people who are just so special. We all motivate each other, we push each other. 6 o'clock, waking up in the morning to do my training and seeing everybody there, it just wakes me up and just gets me going. And I just love it. Matt, you're just amazing.
Thank you. It's a fun team to be a part of, and what I love too is what each of the different coaches brings to the table, and how each coach can have a different take on the same thing, and all that helps. You know, I speak to the athlete in a different way, which I really love, and that's what's gonna be fun about having Ben. It's like Ben has a very awesome take on Power Zone training and his approach to it. So I can't wait for you guys to see that or experience that as well.
Thanks, Matt. That means a lot coming from you.
Well, first thing I need to know though is what's Ben's leaderboard name?
Oh, it's the most unimaginative thing in the world. It's Ben Alldis.
It's our original, right?
Champion spirit. And I was like, I want people to, you know, to see it's me. So you need to make it like plain and clear. Like, that's me. If I give you a high five, I want you to see that.
Absolutely.
Tagging on from that, like my biggest thing about Power Zone training is like I've come from a sporting background. I've also come from a not bodybuilder, but like weightlifting background where structure is super important to get progress in training. And I think one thing which Peloton we're getting much better at, but there's so much content on the platform to choose from. And sometimes as a member, it can get quite difficult to select what to do on what days. Whereas with Power Zone training, it gives you that structure, and every single rise is specific to get a certain result, which is so amazing. And like me as a member, aside from being a coach, it's been incredible to not only ride alongside a lot of the community and see the passion that comes through from every single member, but know that I'm putting in the work for myself. Like this training is specific to me. I'm doing my own zones, yet I'm a part of this community, which is just like full of love, full of support, and it's just like I can't wait for it to continue to build because it's just amazing. So that's mine.
Cool. All right, on to our next question here, and this is for the group. How do you overcome the mental block, anxiety, pressure, and challenge that FTP tests bring? And how should we cope with the feelings of discouragement when the score does not move up? What are your thoughts? Let's start, Fawn. What do you think?
So for the FTP testing, to me, it's like game day, because I grew up an athlete. I played rugby, I played volleyball, and whenever you have a game, you have to practice so you can do great on game day,
Okay.
So I take that into going into taking my FTP testing. And if I see that the score isn't where I would score, if the test results aren't where I want to be at, I know for the next time I need to practice to do better the next time, So I don't really I don't get discouraged. I just know that the next time I just need to work harder to get better results.
Yeah. What about you, Pauline?
Oh, okay. So I try and rest a couple of days before, because I know it's going to be really painful. Because what I love about Power Zone training is it's actually very enjoyable. And the only hard thing you have to do is FTP, right? That's when you have to give it your all. So I try and rest beforehand, and I break it into 5-minute segments. There's like times 4. And then when there's 5 minutes left, where for some reason, it's probably psychological, but I just want to give up. I just think I don't want to pedal anymore. I've got my husband and my 7-year-old in this room, actually, because my bike's there. And they'll be, come on, you can do it. So,
That's so good.
That's focus, isn't it? So they for the last 5 minutes, I get them to shout at me to focus. So that's how I handle it, I guess. In saying that, I've only done 2 FTP tests, unlike Anna, who's done 7, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So for me, honestly, the anxiety does not go away for me. I've taken the test 7 times. And even the first time, I was so hesitant. I kind of built it up in my head. So the FTP is just as it is physically challenging. I believe it to be a mental challenge as well. So for me, it's important to get into that right state of mind. So what really helps me is I have a playlist that really amps me up. And I also take one of the Peloton pre-meditation, the performance goals, and it really helps me kind of calm my mind and get into that mind frame that I'm all right, let's go out and do this and conquer this test. And I think it's important to give ourselves grace, even when the score does not change. I have fun with the score. Even if the result is not what we expected, I think it's important to give ourselves that grace and understand that there are different training seasons, as Matt says. And just as in life, we have our good days, our bad days, and we can always bounce back, continue to work hard, and go out and crush it next time. So
I love that. I love
it.
it.
For me, I have a similar mentality to Fawn in the sense that, like, I think it's game day. Like, let's go, but you got to put the work in before game day. Like, I've come from a sporting background, competitive sports background, so I always see it in that way. However, it still is the moment of like, oh my word, I've got to do this. Really exciting the nerves, but it's a little bit like, this is going to be big. I'm going to really be pushing myself to a whole new level, but this is measuring, checking in with myself at where I am at this current point, you know? And Matt says that a lot in terms of training seasons, but if you don't have those benchmarks, you don't have anything to train on. And you might, like we discussed a lot, but you might be, your fitness might have got better or worse, and that's either way, it's absolutely fine. But it's good to know where you are at that very point in time, because if you're training at levels which don't match that, you're going to be discouraged. So it's really important to be doing this. You know, we recommend maybe 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how much you're training. But whenever you feel like it's, you know, you've either gone up or down in your fitness training. So for me, it's game day, time to get it done. But there's normal sort of anxiety around it, because, you know, same thing with any big event. I'm going to get a bit nervous, but for me, it's like, fit the mindset, game day, let's go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also come in with, you know, the more you do it, the more you learn what to expect, right? It's like, okay, did I put the training in? Where's my training at? Where's my fitness at? You know, what to expect in the test. And so now it's like, I come in with expectations of where I'm at, and then I try to beat those expectations every time, whether the expectations are below where I was earlier or above where you know, thinking about above where I was, but always coming in with like, okay, what do I expect today? And then trying to beat that expectation. So cool. I think, yeah, Ben, your turn, right?
Yes, let's jump into the next question. So I think what's a really important topic to discuss is sort of, how do you know when you reach your peak in power zone, and is it okay to stick at a zone if you feel like you've reached your peak? We'll start with you, Matt. Like, how do people sort of know that peak?
Well, you know, when I think about peak, peak can be, it really means different things to different people, right? So the beautiful thing about power zone training is that it gives you the ability to manage and predict when your peak is going to take place and plan for a peak, right? Oftentimes we think about training and we don't think about like, okay, well, I'm training, but like, what's the goal? What's the goal in mind? Where is that peak going to be? But with power zone training, you can plan out your training in such a way that you can kind of predict where your peak is going to be. And that's the predictability, like the wonderful part about power zone training is that you can predict that peak. So there's when you talk about predicting a peak, you can think about, okay, the end of your plan. Is there an event? Is there an FTP test? What is the end of that plan? And that could be your peak. You're training for that peak. But if you're just going from week to week and you're training just to improve your fitness and without really like a planned event, et cetera, or FTP test where you plan to peak, you can start to feel like a peak can be like, okay, well, I'm starting to feel mentally a little bit burned out and I want to make a shift in my training. And that could be that peak for that season, if you will. And that's totally natural. So if you start feeling like you're like, okay, I'm reaching my wit's end here. Maybe I should take a break after that. That could be a peak per se. But so those are just two different examples of when you can identify when you've reached the peak, whether you planned it or you feeling like, okay, after this, I could probably use a little bit of a break, which is totally normal.
I think something to add upon that as well is that your success or your training is never going to go like this. Like within performance, it's always going to go up and down, up and down. It's like the same as success in life and business and whatever. Like, it's going to go like this. And like, unfortunately, probably because of the way that we're built in terms of Power Zone people, we want results tomorrow and it needs to happen tomorrow. But there is going to be moments where your fitness is going to go down a little bit and then you're going to go up and down. But the goal is across years to be generally fitter, you know? So that's an important point, I think, to add upon that. But I think we're
absolutely. Yeah, I think it's the up and down. Like every year, I expect my FTP to go up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's just like, but trying to think about when are we trying to achieve that up and how high.
Yes. So Matt, you always mention that training is a lifestyle. So what does a typical day of training and fueling look like for you? And also, I'd love to know members who work full time, like Fawn, how you fit your training into your day.
Cool. Well, from it's training is a lifestyle, right? And it's like the decision we always talk about in class. The decisions you make from class to class absolutely influence the overall result. It's like how much time do you spend training versus how much time do you spend doing other things, right? And that time you spend versus in training versus other things is probably pretty minimal. So all those things that are happening in between training sessions are super important. In terms of a lifestyle, fueling, looking at food as fuel versus like a reward per se, that's important. And thinking about fuel that's going to make you feel good during your next training session versus feeling good mentally or being some kind of reward, etc. The other thing is sleep. Like, as you guys know, I get to bed on time. I get to bed early. I'm like 90-year-old dude right here. Get to bed early. If I can get 8 hours, man, that's awesome. And if I'm training hard, I eat 8+ hours. So getting to bed early, and then also, you have to think about your biologically, when are you like most energized to do a workout? Most people are either morning or evening people. I'm a morning person, so hitting it hard in the morning is, if I have a hard workout, I want to do it first thing in the morning. If I'm doing a 2 a day, I do the harder workout, the more challenging workout in the morning, and I call it easy evenings. I do an easy evening after that. So what about you, Fran?
Train, work, sleep, repeat. So I get up at 5:45 every morning and I have a routine. I walk my dog, his name is Harvey. I get ready and I get on that bike, and I do my workout and I go to work without the stress of knowing that at the end of the day, oh my God, when am I going to get out of work? I have to train. No, I don't have to worry about it because it's done first thing in the morning. So that's the best thing for me. And it's also fasted cardio, which is, I like to train on an empty stomach. So, in the mornings is the best time for me to work out, and I get it done. I have my full day of work. I have my dinner. I go to bed, get up and do it all over again.
That's awesome.
I love that. I think
really
we're training together for one.
All right. So the next question is something that really hits home for me. What should I do if my zones continue to feel hard and you feel like you've hit that plateau? What helps to motivate you? And if you did fall off the wagon, per se, what is the self-talk to help you get back on track? And I'd love to hear from Pauline, Matt, and Ben.
All right. I'm always going first, so I'll throw it over to Ben.
I think this is a great question.
Or Pauline.
It comes back to what we were discussing before, where like we're all going to go through these, these plateaus or moments of where you feel like unmotivated. But it comes back to having discipline, like and building discipline into your days. I think for me, across my like training career or life within training, it's building habits into your day to make sure that, just like Fawn was saying, in the morning, I'm going to get this done, regardless of what's going on the rest of the day. I know this makes me happy. It's going to make me obviously healthy in the long run. So it's like attaching the whys to your training and like having an end goal. So you've got your daily habits, like get those done, but then also having that moment of like, what is the end goal? What am I training for? Like, do I have a target to push towards? And then the third piece of that is let's like get some people involved to motivate me. Like let's train with the amazing communities we have at Peloton. And I think a combination of the three, like building strong habits into your day, having an end goal, an end target, or an FDP set, or whatever it is, and then adding in like the fun that obviously we build within the classes, but then training around other people. That's my like go-to sort of on the money sort of tactic to make sure that if you do hit a plateau, you've got people around you that are like, come on, like let's go, like just get back into it. Or you're like, oh, I need to do it because I need to train for this. Or you're like, well, I've already got these daily habits in here, so it's not even a question. That would be my advice.
What about you, Pauline?
Oh gosh. So when I hit the plateau, sometimes it just means that I need a couple of days of rest. And then if I have days when I think, do you know what? And I'm sure we all get them. I just think I cannot be asked getting on my bike. So what I do is I say to myself, just get it done. Jump on it. Go steady. Turn the music up. Choose an instructor you like. No pressure. Forget about the output. Next thing you know, I'm like, wow, I'm getting a PB. So it's just saying to yourself, get on it, even if it's just 10 minutes. And you know what? I've never, ever regretted a ride. Every time I've jumped on, I've always finished thinking, bloody hell, I think I'm amazing.
I love that. Go Pauline.
I don't often feel amazing, but after workout, yeah, sure.
Get that endorphin kick. I love it. So,
yeah,
that's right.
When it comes to plateaus, me personally, as a coach, I always think about there's two different thoughts behind a plateau, right? One could be you're doing too much and you need to take a step away. You need to step away from it and then come back. And stepping away, thinking about, okay, maybe taking a week or two at least off and then coming back at it. You could need some time off. The other thing is that you're not doing enough, right? But either way, something has to change, right? If we're going to get out of a plateau, something has to change. It's either you're doing too much or you're not doing enough. And when you're not doing enough, it goes back to our training variables that we talk about, which are frequency, duration, and intensity. How often are we working out for? How long are we working out for? And last but not least, the intensity of our workouts. And if those are staying pretty consistent, then we need to change one of those variables. Maybe we need to work out one more day during the week, or throw in one more workout, or maybe we need to start running longer, or throwing some more intensity in there. But that's in the case that you're not doing enough. But each athlete needs to think about what decision makes sense for them. But from a mental perspective, I think about, oftentimes something is better than nothing. In terms of getting on the bike, it's like, just do something, get on that bike. And then the other thing is that for me personally, I think we all agree is that when you set that schedule and you commit to it, it's once you start that commitment and sticking to that schedule after a week or two, it's like ingrained in you.
All right. Well, I have a big question for Matt and Ben. How can we balance Peloton training with non-PD classes on the Peloton platform? And how can we add strength training into the mix as well as ensure we have days to recover?
You go first, Matt.
All right. I absolutely love this question because my core belief, and I know Ben agrees with me, is a well-balanced athlete is a healthy athlete. So we should absolutely try to be doing what we call complementary fitness to whatever your priority is. And that takes us to our next point of like, okay, power zone training, how do you balance power zone training with other forms of exercise, right? It always comes back to knowing what your priority is. If your priority is to improve your FTP, well, then everything around that needs to be complementary. And you have to think about keeping your recovery days as recovery days, which means not letting the other workouts that you're doing interfere with your performance on the days that you're actually cycling. So if you have a big cycling workout coming up, you don't want to do your strength workout on the day in between and have residual soreness that impacts that next ride. So a great way to do the strength training so that you're not doing strength training on your day off where you should be recovering is after your ride on the, your earlier ride or your previous ride, doing strength workout either right after the workout while you're still warm, or maybe taking some time off during the day, go to work, and then in the evening nail that strength workout. But that way it's not interfering with your performance on the bike and impacting your progress towards improving your FTP. What are your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, I'm a massive cross training person. Like, I've always, I used to be a sprinter. I used to play like football, soccer. Like, I love sport, every sport possible. I love to play it. So I've always loved doing lots of different things. But as I've become like a coach, I've realized the beauty of that and the actual benefits of mixing up your training and doing different things. But like Matt discusses, like, it can really be complementary. Like, if you are doing strength training, obviously I'm a strength coach as well as Matt on the platform, it can really improve your performance because a lot of like cycling, we're using the same muscles. So if you can go away, do strength training and work on some of your weaknesses, your overall body will become stronger, and then you'll see the effects straight away on the bike, or if you're doing running or whatever. So definitely add, if you're not already, add the strength work in. Make sure you're also doing stretching. Like, I neglected stretches for quite a while, and then I was working with a coach when I used to do sprinting, and he got me really into stretching, and suddenly my time was just like went down. So it seems like, we've got to do stretching, but it makes the world of difference. Same with strength, but leading on to what Matt said, try not to make it like so you're adding on where it's like impacting your training, because the goal is to stick to the plan. If you're putting in other days of like nailing yourself with like a lower body strength workout, the next day your training is going to suffer. So I think I totally agree with Matt. Like, trying to do it on days where that's my training day, then you have that's my rest day, gives you that opportunity to make sure you're like on the money. But yeah, hopefully that answers your questions to a certain extent. But I think everyone's different as well. That's the thing. It's like there isn't a set plan, and there's no right or wrong answer. You need to find what works for you.
Right.
Okay.
All right. I think, Ben, do we have any live feed answer questions?
Two live questions which we're gonna ask. I will ask you the first one. Question number one. True or false? When you wear red, it means the road is spicy. Is true?
That's why I wore red today.
Man, I wish I was, dude. It's, oh man, that's such a deep question. I wish I was that well thought out, but I'm not. Red just means I might get into the bottom of the laundry pile. I don't know.
Red looks good on you, then, Matt. Like, I don't know what you're saying.
What's that?
Red looks great on you. So I don't know what you're saying.
Oh man, no. Red. There's no reasoning behind it. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. That's just the color of the day. But maybe I should start doing something like that. So
prepare people for what's ahead.
Exactly. So is this second question I'm going to ask you this?
Yeah, there's two questions in the chat.
Right.
I can ask you the second question if you want.
I'll ask you the second question. For absolute beginners, how long should we wait before doing the FTP? Still doing beginner and advanced beginner classes. What are your thoughts?
So Power Zone training is going to be different to a normal advanced beginner and beginner classes. However, the FDP is going to allow you to make Power Zone training super easy to follow along. The way that it's currently built on our tablet is that if you do your FDP test, following that, you'll be able to basically go into your profile settings and then you'll have your power bar on your screen. So this will make the whole process of Power Zone training so much easier because you just have to follow this bar. So when we shout out a certain zone, you just go to that and your zone, so based off your FDP test, which is an all-out 1-minute test to measure your current fitness level, you just follow along and it's super easy. So I would say there's never like a too early time, but it is always great to do the beginner Power Zone rides first because that gives you an opportunity to get accustomed to the language that we use within the classes and just the training ethos and mentality around why we do Power Zone and what it's all about. And then I would honestly say give it a shot. Don't be intimidated by it because it is something that all are going to have like a bit of anxiety over it, but you do the work now, do your current fitness levels, and that will benefit you in the long run because then your training will be on point. So yeah, I would say there's never a too early time to do it, but beginner right and then into the next one. Well, I just want to say that thank you so much for being a part of this. All of our wonderful guests today, thank you for all your being open and honest with your answers. Matt, you're obviously amazing. I want to give you a massive hats off for welcoming you into this team. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and sharing our love for Power Zone at Peloton. We received hundreds of questions for this chat, and we're basically only just scratched the surface. So much exciting stuff to discuss. This is really just the beginning for Power Zone training. We can't wait for you to continue a part of our community, and we're super excited to see the progress that you are going to have across the next few months, years to come. We've got something super special coming away, so stay tuned for what's next on Power Zone. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. Hope you've had a fantastic homecoming weekend, and we'll catch you next time, Peloton. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.